Hi everyone! Today I'm going to review the first compilation of one of my favorite comic book series of all time, Sandman by Neil Gaiman. This compilation is called Preludes Nocturnes. Why should you read this series, and why specifically should you read the first volume of this series? Number one, Neil Gaiman has created a great story. It's a fantastic plot with lots of DC character cameos. Number two, Sam Keith has illustrated beautiful worlds. The only drawback really to the illustrations in this book are the coloring, which I'm not a huge fan of, and I know it's not necessarily Sam Keith's fault because he was the line artist, but it's still a little bit of a drawback and kind of takes you back to when the book was written in, I think, 1989. Number three, the characters are really rich without being confusing. In this story, you're meeting characters like Lucifer and Dream, which come with kind of a lot of mythical baggage. So, you've read a lot of stories about these characters when you were young, and you can sort of fall back on the attributes of those characters in those older stories and bring them into this story without any muddling of the story. And I feel like Neil Gaiman relies on that a bit. So it actually enhances the story when you can refer back to these mythical references from other works. I wanted to give you a little bit of a background on the progression of Sandman as a character in the DC universe. It all began with Wesley Dodds in, I believe, the 1960s. He was the original incarnation of the Sandman, and he wore like a green suit with a fedora, and he carried around a gun which was filled with dream gas, and he shot the dream gas to make whoever he was fighting fall asleep. After Wesley Dodds came Garrett Sanford. He was the Sandman of the 1970s. He actually would go to the dream world, and eventually he went to the dream world and went insane and ended up committing suicide. After that, Hector Hall took over Garrett's body and basically became the Sandman. A little fun fact, Wesley Dodds is actually the founder of the Justice League of America, so you see a little bit of Justice League of America woven into the story of Neil Gaiman's Sandman, and that's a little bit interesting to see this new incarnation of Sandman interact with the Justice League of America characters. He doesn't really care who they are, he just doesn't really give a fuck. So as you're reading other DC comics, you may see Dream make a few cameos. So you will probably see him in Swamp Thing and Justice League of America and Hellblazer. And funny enough, I'm going to be doing a review on Swamp Thing sometime soon. So keep your eye out. Now, to the story. I'm going to give you a brief overview, and just so you know, there are a lot of spoilers coming up. So if you want to read the story and not know what's coming next, then this is the time to stop watching this review. I'm going to give you a couple seconds. Good? You're in? All right. So basically, in 1916, Dream is captured by the Order of Ancient Mysteries, who is basically a group of old white men. They are intending to capture Death, but they accidentally capture Dream. So they're kind of like, well, we've captured one of the Endless. What are we gonna do with him? Oh, I guess we'll entrap him in this dome of glass. So they end up doing that, and Dream is sitting there for 70 years, or 60 years, sorry, 60 years. Still pretty bad. So in 1970, Dream escapes. Obviously, he's going to take his revenge on pretty much everyone who entrapped him. I guess he, directs a lot of his anger towards Alex, who's the person who has decided to keep him entrapped for the last, 40 or 50 years. So Dream gives Alex eternal waking, which is basically where Alex will have nightmares and then think that he's waking up from the nightmare, but his waking will actually bring him into another nightmare, and he'll wake up and he'll be in another nightmare. So he'll experience that for the rest of his, consciousness, or I don't know if it's for eternity, but even if it was for the rest of his life, that would still be pretty terrible. When Dream was captured by the Order of Ancient Mysteries, they took away some of his belongings, and Dream had actually, kind of like Voldemort, how he stored a portion of himself in these different items, Dream has actually stored a portion of his power in 3 items. So he has stored his power in a ruby, in his sand, and in his gas mask. The Order has actually taken away those items, and I guess they sold them on the black market, so they're sort of floating around all different types of places. So the first order of business is that Dream really needs to find his items in order to get his power back. So the first item that Dream is going to try to get back is his sand. Supposedly, John Constantine has it, so Dream has to find John Constantine and have John help him find the sand. John's ex-girlfriend has it, and she's like addicted to the sand. She's like rubbing it into her skin and having hallucinations, and it's actually really cool the way that Sam Keith has illustrated the scenes leading up to Dream obtaining the sand again. He has turned this house that John's ex-girlfriend is living in into this sort of dreamscape where each room that they go through is a different type of dream. It's very interesting, very cool. Dream gets his sand back and he's like, peace out, John Constantine, and he goes to the next place where he's going to get his next item back. He actually goes to Hell. Lucifer and his buddies decide, okay, we'll help you out. We're going to call all of the demons together and find out who has your gas mask. So they call all of the demons together. Dream pretty much knows who has it. He can sort of sense the power. He points the guy out. The guy's like, oh, well, I'm not going to give you your gas mask back. You have to duel me for it, which is kind of a weird thing. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about dueling in general. This demon is really stupid because he is challenging Dream in kind of like an imagination of. I don't really know what to call it, but they basically have to like imagine different creatures that will eat the other creature, destroy the other creature. And it's like, obviously Dream is going to take it to a place where he's going to win. I mean, why would you ever challenge Dream to something like that? Unsurprisingly, Dream wins. He gets his gas mask back. He has found out from these soothsayers that his ruby is has been owned by the Justice League of America. So he goes to the Justice League of America and he's like, yo, where's my ruby? And they're like, I don't really know. It might be in this storage bin. You should check it out. So Dream goes to the storage bin. He senses the ruby. He goes and touches it to try to pick it up, and it actually sucks out all of his power. So it's really been turned against him. We find out that John Dee, or Dr. Destiny, as you might know him, has just escaped from Arkham Asylum, and he is in search for the ruby. He's heading down to the storage unit to get his ruby. Dream is there. He just kind of jumps over Dream, grabs the ruby, and goes to a diner. He sort of wreaks havoc on the other diners' lives while Dream is passed out. He eventually makes them all kill each other, and it's kind of a fucked up situation. Dream eventually wakes up, makes it to the diner, and is like, you are so crazy. You're so crazy. So Dream kind of plays to Dr. Destiny's insanity and says, well, if you want the ruby and you want to be in charge of this realm of dreams, then you're really going to have to fight me in the dream realm. So he opens up this cool opening and they walk through it into the dream realm, and Dr. Destiny is going to fight him. And for some reason, he decides that destroying the ruby will destroy Dream, and he ends up destroying the ruby, and actually when he destroys it, all of the power goes to Dream, so it's really beneficial to him. You can kind of tell that after that, Dream kind of feels bad for John Dee, so he's not gonna, because John Dee is already so crazy. I mean, his face just looks really crazy. So Dream basically takes him back to the real world and returns him to Arkham Asylum. John Dee is basically returned to the care of Jonathan Crane at Arkham Asylum. So you kind of feel for him. So make sure to pick up your copy of Sandman and let me know what you think about it. I want to know what you think about the characters. I want you to let me know what you think about the storyline. Share away.